When I get a quiet hour or two on the weekend, I like to prepare ingredients in advance to make it easier to create quick meals throughout the week. I'll choose a prep day, think about what I want to make for the week, and then I'll prep basic vegetables that I can use as snacks for the kids in their lunches, or throw into a one-pot meal or a stir fry. Cooking at home when you have a busy family to me means a couple of things. First, staying organized is so incredibly important. And second, making sure everybody stays safe in the kitchen when the kids are helping out especially. If you can get these two things down, cooking becomes so much less hectic and gives you more time to spend creating some delicious food together. All right, for some people, cooking is so incredibly stressful, and the reason for that is because you're not organized, And when you're organized, it flows so much easier when it comes to cooking. It makes it so much more enjoyable. So let's take, for example, if you're making a stir fry, okay? If you're not organized, you're making a stir fry. Most people will, take out some vegetables that they know they want to be in the stir fry. They'll turn on the heat. They'll start chopping the onion, okay? They'll turn on the pan, start chopping the onion. They throw the onion in a pan. They're like, oh crap, I gotta start cutting more vegetables. As the onion's cooking, they're cutting more vegetables. By the time they get the vegetables in, they're now thinking about the sauce. They're running to the cupboard to gather the ingredients for the sauce. And then they're like, what am I gonna serve this with? So they get the hot water on to boil the rice or boil the pasta. And this whole process, that stresses me out talking about it. That's what this video is all about, is really teaching you the simple basics of staying organized. And really what we call it in the culinary world is mise en place. Mise en place is basically setting in place, staying organized, having all of your ingredients out when you're about to create a meal. Batch cooking is basically building enough stock of prep vegetables or other components in dishes that make it so much easier to throw together a quick meal during the week, okay? For myself, I'll choose that one day that I prep on the weekend, and I will prep a bunch of vegetables, whether they're just chopped up, cucumbers and peppers and carrots, or I like to, blanch some potatoes. I'll dice up some potatoes or slice them. I'll blanch those. So if I'm gonna make a quick cheesy potatoes for my kids in the morning before I have to head off to work, they cook in a matter of minutes rather than having them cook for 30 minutes on the stove, right? So, prepping these ingredients in advance makes it so much easier, all right? The other things I like to prep in advance are dressings and different sauces. If I'm making a red sauce and I'm going through the whole process of making a red sauce, I'll make, 5 or 6 different quarts of that sauce, and I'll freeze them and I'll, save them for a later date in other recipes, okay? I do the same thing for grains and beans, all right? So we have some wild rice here that I've cooked. This is one of my favorite grains. We're gonna make a quick wild rice salad. I love having this on hand that you can, that I put in the kids' lunches, and I also enjoy throughout the week. All right, so let's make this wild rice salad. I'm gonna start off with some veggies. This is just a great sort of base recipe that you can kind of mix it up, make it your own. I like some celery in there, so I will dice up a little bit of celery. Add some real nice crunch to the salad also. Really any vegetables work. Carrots, peppers are excellent. Celery is just nice. I love that sort of freshness and crunch that celery gives to a salad, especially working with grains. Okay, so a little bit of celery in there. Also a little bit of green onion. Rather than using a red onion or a white onion, green onion tends to be a little bit less strong in flavor, especially if you're making grain or bean salads that are sitting in the fridge. What I find with like a red onion or a white onion, when they're in their raw form, they tend to really permeate the smell of those dishes. So green onion is definitely a little more gentle, I feel. All right, so we have some green onion, we have some celery in there. Let's get the avocado, make sure it's nice and ripe. I'm gonna slice up a little bit of avocado in there. All right, easiest way to slice an avocado is basically you're slicing while it's still in the skin. I'm squeezing them out. All right, I'm gonna add a little bit of color to this. So let's add a little bit of color in there. I have some peppers that I've batch prepped. Just a little bit of peppers, just gonna dice these up. These are great to have on hand, as I mentioned. There's certain things that definitely are best only within the first couple days. Peppers are one of them. Another one would be tomatoes. Another one is cucumbers, but we go through these so quickly that having them prep for about 2 to 3 days in the fridge is perfectly fine. After that, they tend to get a little bit slimy in my opinion. All right, so we're adding a little bit of color to this, adding those peppers in there. And then for herbs, something a little bit more subtle, nothing that's gonna be too strong of an herb, especially since my kids are enjoying the salad. I'm adding some parsley, okay? Which is a nice little touch. You can also add a little bit of basil, a little bit of mint in there. Now, if you wanted to go a little bit more Asian influenced, you can add some toasted sesame seeds in here, which we will add, but you can also add a little bit of ginger. You can do a little bit of miso in there, you know, a little bit of tamari. You can really mix up the flavors and build the flavors that work for you. All right, so I have a little bit of citrus. I'm just gonna roll that up. Let's grab some of that wild rice. This has been cooling. Also, when you're making these big batches of grains, the easiest way and the fastest way to cool them down is get a sheet pan and spread them out on a sheet pan and then put that sheet pan in the fridge. That's gonna cool it down. All right, so I'm just stirring that up. This looks so good. All right, a little bit of toasted sesame seeds in there. So good. Toasted sesame seeds, toasted sunflower seeds. I always have these on hand also. So when it comes to batch prepping, I'll do also croutons. If I have leftover bread, I'll make croutons for the week because my family loves them in salads. Also toasting all sorts of nuts and seeds. They add such a nice dimension and nice nuttiness to a lot of different salads. You know, even topping a green salad, just reaching for some toasted seeds is fantastic. So, all right, a little bit of lemon in there. Let's roll that up. Just a touch of citrus, not too much, but really just to cut through that richness of the avocado. I'm gonna add some olive oil. You can use some flax oil in here also, which is nice. Olive oil, just a nice little addition. A little bit of sea salt. And there you have it, a wonderful, simple wild rice salad. Nice application when you batch cook some wild rice. I'm just gonna serve this up family style. I will eat a huge bowl of this just for lunch. You know, I'll just have some greens with some wild rice salad on top, and it is so nice. My little boy loves it, especially when there's toasted seeds in there. All right, and there you have a simple wild rice salad. You know, 2 minutes to make if you have those grains on hand. It's all about simplicity. Cooking is not difficult. It is all about really just staying organized, batch prepping, and it just makes cooking that much more enjoyable. Makes it easier during the work week also when it comes to making food for your family.